Welcome everybody to your Mama Yoga class. So we're gonna get started on the bolster or pillow today. So you can grab that and bring it on into the mat. Bring it lengthways down your mat. Now I'm gonna suggest we straddle it, but as always, if that doesn't feel good for you, then bring your legs around front. So this class is all about moving in a way that feels good for you. So even if I don't cue for something, always adjust and modify, pull in props to fill space and just feel good in each shape that we're in. All right, so let's take the hands to the hips now, tilting the pelvis back and forward, and let's try and get it level. So if you imagine tea sitting in your pelvic bowl here, you don't want tea to spill out the back, so rounding the back, and you don't want tea to spill out the front, so arching it too much. Rather, just find that nice neutral level position. And then of course the stacking, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, lengthening up through the crown of your spine. Good. Taking one hand to belly and one hand to heart. Gently close your eyes. So I like to tuck my chin just an inch towards my chest during these centerings when we're seated. Helps to elongate the back of my neck and really allow me to get that length up through my spine. So we're just going to start by noticing the sounds around you. Maybe it's the ticking clock, cars driving by, animals around you, whatever it is. Welcome all of those sounds in. Notice them and then wipe them away. Wash them away, kind of like ocean waves lapping up on the shore. Notice and wash away. You can use your breath in tandem here. With each long exhale, allowing that clean slate, that wiping visual. Making sure the muscles in your face are soft, in your shoulders, down the spine, anywhere else that you tend to cling to stress, making sure it's soft. Good, and taking your attention now to your breath with your eyes still closed, sitting up nice and tall, one hand on belly, one hand on chest. We're gonna alternate the breathing. First, inhaling straight to the belly. So feel your belly hand swell like your belly is a balloon. And then feel it recede. Next cycle will be to your chest. Inhale, open up the rib cage. Feel the chest hand rise. Nice slow breaths. And then exhale, feel it release. Alternate to your belly. Inhale. Exhale, nice and long. And just keep doing this, alternating chest to belly with each cycle of breath. Do this for a few more cycles. Take your time. Breathe so it feels good in your body. Breathe so it feels good in your mind. As we focus on the breath, we notice that those external distractions around us aren't so bothersome. Let's do one more cycle wherever you're at, finishing up. Focusing on that sweet healing breath. Lovely. Taking your time, flutter your eyes open, adjusting to the light around you. And then resting your hands down on your lap. Let's give the shoulders a little roll out and forward. Good, okay. Moving right into our connection breath. So we've done this a few times already. The connection breath again is that work with our team here of our Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor, and our Uddiyana Bandha, the core. And so we're gonna use our breath to help access and make this team work to optimal functioning and efficiency. So let's start by bringing the hands to the core area. So feel your pubic bone right above there. You're gonna bring your hands and gently rest way below your belly button. It's the core we wanna be focusing on here, not the six-pack area, okay? Sitting up nice and tall. I suggest closing your eyes because again, that does help to block out distraction. And let's just take some big cleansing breaths in through the nose. And out through the mouth, nice and long. One more, in through the nose. And out through the mouth. On this next inhale, I want you to release the area of your pelvic floor as you inhale through your nose, swell your belly, and let that area go. Let it be heavy in your pillow. Exhale, nice and long. Start to gather the bits up, the muscles of the pelvic floor, those that stop the flow of urination, all the way up to the top. And find a gentle hug right under your hands. You will not feel your hands moving in an internal sensation. Good, inhale, open, soften, feel that heaviness in the bolster. And exhale, start to lift. Contract the muscles of your pelvic floor like you're sipping a milkshake all the way up to the top of your vagina. Good. And then find that gentle integration of your core like a string is cinching your hips together. Inhale, let it all go. Swell your belly all the way up through your rib cage. Soften. And exhale, lifting, gathering the muscles in your Mula Bandha all the way up to meet your Uddiyana Bandha for that gentle integration. Hold that integration here now. Let the breath move freely through you, holding that integration so your muscles of your pelvic floor are lifted all the way up to the top. You're imagining like you're cinching your hips together with a string. Good. Slide your hands up now to your belly, around your belly button, and feel if those rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscles are contracted. They need not be right now. Can you soften that area? Keep your bits lifted. It's hard, I know. We're trying to disconnect this bigger muscle from taking over of the six-pack. Awesome. Okay, let it all go. Let it all go. Open your eyes, shifting on the bolster, rolling out the shoulders. Awesome. So if you're finding that these connection breaths are hard, you're not the only ones. I still myself find them hard 10 years later after practicing all the time. So keep at it though. We're gonna shift off the bolster. It's a daily ritual that I would love for you to invite into your practice, not just weekly with me on the mat. Okay, let's sweep the feet out in front of you, and we're gonna scoop the right leg under the left and come into this easy pose Sukhasana. Okay, so see if you can bring the knees towards one another as much as possible, making it a nice tight little crisscross applesauce, as my kids like to call it, pose. Okay, sitting up nice and tall. Remember the pelvic tilt, lifting up through the crown of your head. Awesome. We're gonna walk the right hand out to the right, plant the palm, and then inhale, lift and lengthen through the left side body. Exhale, find a beautiful side stretch. So check in with that left sit bone. Has it lifted up? Can you make sure both sit bones are actually equally rooted into the floor? And if that means putting a little pressure into that right hand on the floor, you can do that. And that will help also for you to open up towards the sky. So we don't want to be facing the ground here, opening up towards the sky. It doesn't matter how deep you're coming. What matters is that this shape feels good in your body, and if it doesn't, adjust. So if you want to raise your hand or lower your hand, you can. Good, okay. Slowly coming back up, cross that left hand over and grab the right knee. Really grab a hold and anchor yourself there as you inhale, raise your right arm up. And then exhale, find that same side stretch, but you're anchoring with your left hand on your knee. Check in with those sits bones. Are they rooted? Check in with how it feels this shape might not work for your body, and that's okay. We are all different, as we are mothers. And so this is the lesson here, right? Is you're doing you right now. You're doing what's best for you. You do what's best for your family. Everybody's different. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, crossing over now. Grab a hold of the opposite knee and round out. So tuck your chin towards your chest. Can you let your head really just hang heavy here? If it's too intense for the shoulders or the spine, please come out of it a little bit. Don't hang so deep. Try and round your spine as much as you can, anchoring in with both hands on your knees. On your next inhale, tune in, come back up through your seat, unwind your arms, and take your fingers, tenting them behind you on the floor. Find a gentle lift through your heart. Squeeze your shoulder blades to your spine. Glorious, glorious counter stretch. I love it. Beautiful. Okay, come back up to your seat. Let's swap legs. We're going to do the opposite side. So can you scoop the left leg under the right, or just do the opposite of what you were doing? Make sure it's nice and small, nice and tight here. Walk your left hand out to the left. Press the palm in. As you inhale, rise. As you exhale, find your sweet spot. So sits bones are rooted, grounded in there. Yeah. And you're just kind of playing around with the movement. I don't like to be super still in any of the poses. That's just me. I like to always play around with little micro movements. Try and make sure that your shoulders settle down away from your ear. Try and make sure that your heart's rotated up towards the sky, opening as much as we can through the chest. Good. And then on that inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, cross over, grab a hold of the left knee. Inhale up. And exhale, find that sweet spot. Your breath really helps you to get to that spot, to access it, to create space and accessibility within the joints and in the body, especially those long exhales out. Feels so glorious. Slowly coming back up. When you're ready, crossing over, anchor in. Around the spine, really push your heart center back behind you, and then from there you can let your head hang to wherever feels comfortable for you. Checking in always. Beautiful. When you're ready, slowly rise, unwind the arms, tent your fingers behind you and find your counter. Lift. Alrighty, we're gonna come up into tabletop now. So sweeping the legs behind you. Tabletop, as always, modify if you need to for the wrists, coming down onto forearms, up onto fists, or you can pull your props in as well to give yourself a little bit of height. Spread your fingers and root all 10 fingers into the mat. We're gonna just do a little bit of cat-cow here. So I'm gonna show you from the side view, a little bit of cat-cow. Really good to help lube up the spine. So as you inhale, arch your spine, draw your belly towards the ground and gaze up. As you exhale, really arc your spine, push your heart center up towards the sky, drop the crown of your head towards the floor. Inhale, you're following your rate of breath. I'm not going to give you too many cues of when to move because I want you to follow your inhale and exhale. And anytime you're holding on to a little bit of extra tension, please open your mouth and sigh it out long. This really helps to let go of that stagnation, that built up stress that tends to cling within us, sometimes unknowingly. Okay, so next, keep going. Next is going to be downward dog. Remember, whenever we drop the head below the pelvis, you gotta gather the bits up just a little bit to help protect from air going up there. All right, so let's finish your cycle. And meeting back up in your flat tabletop. From tabletop, you're gonna walk your hands one palm length forward, curl your toes under, lift up and back into your first downward dog. Now this one is the first of the class, so it's usually pretty juicy. So I want you to just pedal the heels slowly. Pedal the heels. How does that feel?
Lots of stretch up the back of the legs, the calves perhaps, the hamstrings. And can you find a little bit of length through your side bodies? So imagine expanding from your armpit all the way up to your hip, opening up, lifting your tailbone up towards the sky, creating as much space as you can between your rib cage. Try and settle your armpits towards the ground. Good. Trying to straighten those wrist creases out. Okay, so keep the pelvic floor lifted, just 10% here, and we're gonna plant the left toe mound into the ground and raise the right leg up for three-legged dog. So just point the toe up towards the sky. You can open the hips if that feels good. You can rotate that leg if that feels good, helicoptering it above you. And then slowly bring it down. We're just exploring the movement in our body. How does it feel? So pressing the toe mound of the right foot into the ground now. Lift the left leg up. Open it up. I'm hearing little snap, crackle, pops in my joints. What about you? Checking in. Good. And then slowly lower down. All right, from down dog, we're gonna walk the hands back to meet the feet, keeping the bum up really high, keeping the pelvic floor engaged. Into your forward fold. Let your head hang heavy. Give it a little shake out so there's no tension in the neck. Good. And then walking yourself back into your downward dog. We're gonna do this 3 times. This is a really good core exercise. If you can keep your bum up really high, start walking back to your feet and your pelvic floor lifted, 10-20%. It's a really great deep internal core exercise that you could do even in the morning, right out of bed, if you're a morning yoga person. Last cycle, and we're gonna meet back up in forward fold. So just take your time getting there. And just arrange your feet if they're not already. So they're about hip width distance apart. So your heels are stacked under your hips. Your feet are parallel to one another. And don't worry about looking at the screen. I really don't want you to crane your neck. You're not doing anything wrong. Hey, if it feels good in your body, you're doing it right. Yeah. So I'm just gently rocking my hips from side to side, gently bending my knees, alternating, because that feels good for me right now. If you want to grab opposite elbows with your hands, you can, to help weigh you down a little bit. You can do that as well. If you want to bend your knees so much so that your chest is sitting on your legs, you can do that as well. There's no wrong way to do forward fold. Let your head hang heavy. Beautiful. Okay, one more breath. Let's make it an out breath. Inhale through the nose and exhale long out the mouth. Come into stillness, soften your knees, bend them a little bit, lift your bits as you ragdoll up, let your arms hang heavy, your head hangs heavy. Remember, your head is the last to arrive at the top. Take your time, ragdoll. Creates that traction in the spine, opening up the vertebrae. And just give yourself a moment here at the top. If you're feeling dizzy, coming into prayer, take a gaze down at the floor. And we are gonna just make our way into mountain at the top of your mat. So take a few cycles of breath, encouraging the blood to come back up and just balance the system out. How are you feeling? Beautiful. Okay, so from mountain, rooting all 4 corners of your feet into the mat, stacking ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over heels. And I'm going to show you from the side view now. Open your chest up, palms facing forward. And here we're going to interlace the fingers behind your back like you're holding your own hand. And we're just going to find a big heart lift here. So what you want to make sure you're not doing is coming into a back bend. So please try not to thrust your hips forward, because then you will activate your 6-pack muscles.
We're not doing that right now. We're just trying to come into a heart opener. So squeezing the shoulder blades towards the spine. And if you can't quite make that connection, no problem. You can have your hands just on your lower back and keep drawing your elbows towards one another. Move, adjust, modify so it feels good for you right here, right now. Beautiful. Coming back up into your mountain, nice strong legs, hands to your hips. We're gonna take a giant step back with the right leg. Big, big step back coming into warrior two. So step your back foot back so it's parallel with the back of your mat. And then your front toe is facing forward. So we're kind of coming into this lunge pose. And whenever we do this, whenever we split the legs in yoga in any pose, I want you to imagine you're on the sheet of ice and you're hugging your legs towards one another gently, creating this arch of support that connects here to your core. So you're actually strengthening your core by just standing here. Although it doesn't seem like we're doing much, hug the core and you are strengthening it. So it's kind of cool. The core is about micro movements, not these big movements, okay? Okay, so let's settle into the front knee just so that it's stacked over top of the front heel. Again, it doesn't need to be super deep. That's not what we're trying to access here. I'm trying to get you connected to your core. So just enough so you can still integrate the legs, face sideways on your mat. And then if you want, you can open the arms up for the full expression of the pose, warrior two. Take a breath. I'm talking too much, not breathing enough. Warrior two, how does that feel? Reaching your fingertips front to back, plug your shoulder blades in towards your spine. Yes. So can you keep that back leg nice and straight? Keep a bend in your front leg and start to hinge forward, reaching your fingertips forward in front of you. Hinge forward until you can't go anymore and then bend your elbow. And you can place your elbow on top of your left knee. And bringing the right arm overhead for extended side angle. Yes. So right over top of your ear. Again, we're trying to avoid that, that downward motion. So opening up the heart, rotating up towards the sky. That's what we want to achieve here. One more breath. Beautiful. And slowly coming up, integrate the legs, connect with the core. That gives you the strength here. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So I'm going to get you to take your hands to your hips and just rotate on your heels. So now you're facing the back of your mat, and don't worry if you can't see me, that's okay. Arrange your feet into the warrior lunge position so your back foot is parallel to the back of your mat and your front toe is facing forward. Integrate your legs and start to bend into the front knee, bending in so that it's stacked right over top of your front heel. Integrate your legs, don't lose that connection in your core. And then when you're ready, if you want to, you can extend your arms out for the full expression of warrior two. Reaching the fingertips front to back, plug the shoulders into your sockets. And breathe. Breathe deep, breathe strong, breathe so it feels beautiful in your body, in your mind, in your spirit and soul. Keep your shoulders down, settle down away from your ears if you can, if they've crept up. Good. And here we're going to come into the extended side angle. So start to reach forward, reach until you can't go anymore. Bend your right elbow, place it on top of the right knee, and extend your left arm over your ear. Keep settling your shoulders down your back. It's a very active pose. Lots going on, a lot of these fine cues, but the most important one is keep hugging your legs towards one another. Don't lose that connection. And the more we do this, the more we are going to strengthen those core muscles. One more big breath. Good. Coming back up through center. Keep the connection in your legs. And we're going to rotate back around to the front of your mat and hop that back foot up. Give it a little shake out at the front. Shake, 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 shake. Awesome. Okay, so at the top of your mat, find your mountain pose again. All four corners of your feet rooting down, nice tight toned knees and thighs, making sure that your bum is blossomed, it's not tucked under as it may have been in those last stages of pregnancy, compensating for your big bump out front. And then stacking ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over heels. I like to rotate my palms forward because that allows me to open up the chest. And as you know from carrying babies a lot, this rounding of the chest happens a lot, right? Feeding, baby wearing, baby carrying all day. So open up, settle the shoulders down. Take 3 big out breaths here, in through your nose. Big long sigh. Good, one more. Lovely. Opening your eyes if they were closed. We're going to do a little sun salutation to get down to tabletop. So from mountain, inhale, take a big giant, reach up overhead, exhale, big giant, sway forward. Yes. Into your forward fold, crown of the head towards the floor, bend your knees. Inhale, little halfway hip lift, straighten the legs, looking forward, make an L shape with your body, good. And then exhale, bend the knees as much as you need to plant your palms and step back into tabletop. So here in tabletop, sway the hips gently from side to side. Check in with the wrists. How are they feeling? Do you need to modify? You can pull in your props now if you need to do that. I always cue for that because I just don't want anybody suffering in class just to make the pose, okay? So always modify if you need to. All right, here we go. From tabletop, sweeping the right leg around in front. See if you can get it up in line with your wrist or somewhere in and around there. It can be off your mat as well. I know it's hard to see on mine, but my foot would technically be off the mat. And then I like to rotate my foot out to the side a little bit. Here, we're gonna come into this wide leg lunge flow. And you could turn it into like a cat-cow if you want to and round your spine. Coming forward and back. You could come into circles if that feels good for you. You could pause in a certain position if you're like, oh yeah, I need more of that. Okay, so again, there's no wrong way to do this. Move in a way that feels good for you. Opening up the joint in the hips, really important. A lot of yoga poses work with these big joints, these big ball and socket joints of the hips and the shoulders because they tend to get the most injury, being that there's so much mobility there. So what we're doing is we're just lubing up that joint. One more breath cycle in and out. And then coming forward, putting the weight into your hands. You can heel toe that foot a little in towards the outside edge of your right hand and then put the weight into that right foot. Start to walk your way up your leg, up and up and up. We're gonna come into one-legged kneeling position, and I have to adjust because I'm on a weird spot on the rug on my knee, okay? Adjust if you need to. If you have a rolled up blanket, you can tuck it underneath that knee joint. Again, we don't want you suffering. Press pause, go do it. Benefits of doing yoga at home. Okay, we're gonna take that right elbow now and draw it out to the right knee. And then open up the arm again. Kind of like that extended side angle, like we did, drawing the chest up towards the sky. But here, we're gonna start to cycle the arm back 3 times. So now we're moving into the shoulder joint, that ball and socket joint of the shoulder, which has a lot of mobility. Good, and then 3 times forward. And I can hear mine going click, 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 click. Yeah, how about yours? Warm it up. Last cycle. Coming back through center. Okay, coming back up, hands to hips. And coming into kneeling. So you can untuck your toes or tuck them under, doesn't matter. So from kneeling, kind of like your mountain, right? Stacking ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over knees this time. We're gonna cross the left arm over. So we just warmed it up, doing those circles. Cross the left arm over the body, nice and high up above the breasts. And just grabbing with the right hand, pull the arm towards the body. Settle the shoulders down away from your ears. Those out breaths are there if you need it, if it's super juicy for you. Good. Okay, we're gonna release now and draw the left hand up and down the spine. I'll show you from the back and down the spine. Now you can use your right hand on your left elbow to draw that elbow back. You can walk your fingers down your spine. And here, finding that out breath if you need it. Lovely, lovely. Slowly release. Let's do the opposite side now. Give the shoulders a little roll out if they need it. Walking forward into your tabletop. Sway the hips. Good. And now let's sweep the left leg around in front. Find that sweet spot for you and start to shift and move in a way that feels beautiful in your body in this exact moment. Only you know what your body needs right now. So tapping into that innate wisdom within you, that intuitive self. Yes. Oh, make sure there's no extra tension sitting anywhere in the body, especially in the jaw. Finding your trigger points, shoulders, traps, forehead. Sometimes it's furrowing the eyebrows. Where are they for you? Can you just go there now and mindfully release, mindfully let go. One more breath cycle in and out. And then hinging forward, putting the weight back into your hands. Heel toe that foot close so it's at the outer edge of your left hand. And then start to walk your way up into this one-legged kneeling position. Adjust if you need to. Good. Slide your left elbow down the leg now. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, side stretch. Okay, so we're gonna start to pinwheel that arm back 3 cycles. Try and get full mobility, full rotation around as much as you can. And here as we're doing this, I want you to make note of how this side feels in comparison to the other side. You know our bodies are not symmetrical. It's too much to ask of them to be so. Welcoming any differences. Is it easier, harder? Okay, and opposite direction. Especially if you're dominant one hand, it's gonna definitely be different. Okay, finishing up your last cycle. Coming back up, taking both hands to your hips and slide that foot back into a kneeling position. Comfort under your knees. If you need to, you can always double up your mat as well. Okay, taking the right arm now across the body. Take your left hand and draw the elbow in. Keep your right arm straight and locked. And your shoulders settled down away from your ears. Beautiful. Slowly, slowly release. Taking that hand up now and down the spine, right hand crawling down the spine. And then the left hand just help you to find that sweet spot. Not so much so that you're kind of gritting your teeth. We shouldn't be there. That's too deep. In a space where you can still take a breath though, where it feels nourishing to your muscles, ligaments, joints, and tendons. Wonderful. When you feel ready, slowly releasing down. And give those shoulders a roll out. Okay, we're gonna come into a wide knee child's pose. So taking your big toes together to touch and your knees extra wide. Come to sit down on your heels. How does that feel? Checking in with if you want to fill a little bit of space, a rolled up towel or blanket is always great to have nearby. And if you want to try it, you can put it underneath your seat here, and that will give you a little bit of height to help fill space if this deep, wide knee child's pose does not suit you today. Okay, so I'm taking my knees nice and wide. I know I like it like that. And here, arms by your sides. Take an inhale, sweep them overhead. Exhale, bow forward. So coming forward, walking the hands down, 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 down. See if you could get your forehead to meet the mat or prop, even if it's a block or rolled up blanket, pulling it in here now. Melt your arms, melt your torso in between your legs. You can shift your hips from side to side if you need to. Go back to those trigger spots. Soften, release. Find that nice big belly breath. Good. And staying low here, we're gonna walk our torso and arms over to the right side now, over your right leg. Bow down once again. Really reach your left side body out as far as you can, lengthening it. If you can, rest down your head, go ahead. You feel that stretch as you inhale. And the breath accentuates and opens up the left side body. Good. Let's walk over to the left side now, staying low. Still getting deep into the hips in this pose. Reach your right arm out as far as you can, extending it in front of you. And then bow down once again. Take an inhale, feel that opening through the right side body. Make space. Wonderful. When you're ready, gently make your way back through center, coming up all the way to your seat. Just take a moment to let the blood flow once again. And when you're ready, we're going to slowly make our way forward and nose dive down towards the ground and come down onto the belly. So you know I really love Sphinx pose, where we slide the elbows so they're stacked right underneath the shoulder. This is a great alternative, a great modification to Cobra, which can be super deep for most. Yeah. And so rather, slide those elbows under and really allow, like a magnet is drawing your rib cage towards the ground, allow that space to settle and soften and melt towards the floor. So we're hanging out here in Sphinx pose. Palms are grounding you here into the space in front of you on the floor. All 10 toes pressing in to your mat behind you. Activate your legs, activate your glutes. Tuck your tail so you can feel your pubic bone pressing into the earth. Yeah, you want to feel that point there. One more big breath to your belly. Lovely. All right, from here I'm going to show you from the side view, so you stay where you are. From Sphinx, we're going to come into one-legged bow pose. So you can keep your left elbow down for now, and we're going to sweep the right arm around and behind. See if you can bend into the right knee and see if you can grab a hold somewhere on the top of that right foot. Okay, and if this is where we're at, that's great. If you want to come down a little lower and just draw that heel in towards the bum, that feels glorious too. So wherever you're at, notice, don't push yourself. Notice what feels good. Okay, so the last option here is if you want to, pressing your left hand into the floor to lift up slightly and start to kick your right foot behind you, coming into one-legged bow pose. Feeling your pubic bone pressing into the earth, feeling the bottom of your rib cage as well. Kick your right foot into your hand and extend both arms nice and long in opposite directions. Lovely. And release. Very slowly release the foot down. Yes. Okay, coming back up into your Sphinx pose, moving like you're moving through honey or molasses. Get yourself situated here. So options, you take whatever feels good for you. Okay, so from Sphinx, we're gonna rest the weight into the right elbow, bend into the left knee, reach around, grab a hold of that foot somewhere. Okay, and if you want, you can sink down. Draw the heel towards the glute. Big, big, big quad stretch here. So glorious. And if you want to come into that one-legged bow pose, kick your foot into your hand and start to lift up, rooting your right fingers into the floor, hands going in opposite directions. Beautiful. And then slowly release down and very slowly let that foot go all the way to the mat. All right, a well-deserved belly rest here. So resting palm upon palm, and then bring your forehead down to meet the back of your hands. Give your hips a lull from side to side, rolling them out. Okay, coming into stillness here. On your belly, on your forehead. Close your eyes. Let's expand the breath now to the side bodies and the back body. It doesn't always have to be in the front, through the belly and chest. We've got lots of spaces, lots of areas where we can put our breath. So expand now with each inhale in and out. Expand your side bodies, right, left. Expand your back body laterally. One more breath. Beautiful. Good. And then slowly releasing your head, coming back up. And we are going to make our way into a clamshell now. So you're just gonna roll yourself onto your side, resting your head on your hand. And I'm just gonna shift around so you can see me. Good. So resting yourself, your head on your hand here. Knees are stacking, hips are stacking, and just check in with the heels that they're stacking and they're in line with your back. And then taking that left thumb and find the soft part of the back of your pelvis there. So there'll be a bone, and then shift just below that bone and you'll feel that soft part. That's your gluteus medius. That's where we want to be connecting to here. So let's start to open up the knees. You feel underneath your thumb there kind of tighten and tone. That's good. That's what we want. Keep your toe mounds together. And slowly lower. One more time. Open. We're gonna slowly, slowly lower. Last one. Open. And lower. All right, taking the toe mounds 2 inches apart now and opening up. Keeping those toe mounds just 2 inches apart approximately. And lower. Open and lower. One more time, open. Really feeling underneath your thumb is getting tired. That's good, that's what we want. And lower. Okay, last one. Open up the knee, Bring the toe up in line with the right knee, the lower knee, and tap that left toe down. Raise the knee up, whoo, juicy, juicy, and down, and raise the knee up, last one, and down. And if you want to press pause and just keep going there, feel free. Okay, let's wind our way around to the opposite side, so you can just go ahead and flip. I'm gonna get up and switch sides because I actually don't think I could do that exercise on that side again. Okay, so here we go. Stacking, making sure everything is in line. And then feel that fleshy part with your thumb. Opening. Yeah, so just keep going 3 times each. So the reason why we're doing these exercises is to help stabilize that big bone at the base of your spine, your sacrum. And the muscles that stabilize it, that SI joint, are the gluteus medius, which is right under your thumb. So we're strengthening here. So opening up the toe mounds 3 times. Baby kittens, don't you love them? Good, and ready for that max level. Knee up really high, tap the toe down. Really high, tap the toe down. One more time. Beautiful. All right. We're going to make our way down now onto your back. So I'm going to show you from the side, but you just make your way down there. You're from your side. It's best to just roll there from the side versus doing that reverse sit up to get down. So slowly making your way into a comfortable position on your back. All right. So here, we're going to bring the knees up to the chest and just take them in gentle circles. Gentle circles, one direction, kind of giving that lower glute area a massage where we're just exercising, and into the opposite direction with the circles. Good. All right, now taking your arms wide like a T, pressing the palms into the ground, roll yourself over to the right. So roll those knees over. They don't have to be perfectly stacked. And just shift your body so that you can try and settle them down. And again, if you've got that pillow, blanket, or bolster nearby, you want to fill space, you can do that. Close your eyes, starting to settle in, starting to tune inward as we prepare for our Shavasana. These twists are so beautiful. Next class, we're going to do a lot of twists. They're so detoxifying, kind of like wringing out a dirty sponge, cleansing the system. Let's do one more breath cycle, and then we'll slowly shift to the opposite side. So when you're ready, taking one leg up at a time, repositioning your pelvis back through center, and then taking those knees over towards the left, lowering them down as much as you need to, and filling space if you feel that's a need. Rolled up blankets, towels, and pillows. We love to have those on hand. Close your eyes. Tune in the noises around you once again, welcoming it all. One more breath. And slowly, leg by leg, coming back up through center. Maybe giving yourself one more squeeze in with the knees.
And then laying out long on your mat, extend those legs. Take them a little wider than your hips and give the feet a little windshield wiper flop from side to side. And then splay the feet open, allowing this external rotation to happen with your thighs and legs. All right, taking your arms, take them by your sides, palms facing up, helping to open up the chest. Feel your shoulder blades melt and magnetize in towards the floor. If your eyes aren't already closed, gently closing them now, and take yourself to those places and spaces within your body that hold the tension, those trigger spots. And let them go. Bring awareness to them. If you're a visual person, you might imagine them melting away, any tension melting away like hot chocolate fudge. And so as we move into this next 5 minutes, this is such an important part of your practice. It helps to wrap up, bring together all that we just did, all that we just explored physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So please see it through to the end. It is hard, the hardest pose in yoga, it's said to be, because it involves stilling the mind. And the mind, as you know, that mummy chatter likes to chat all day to us. And so attempting to move into this next 5 minutes with compassion for yourself, without any expectation of what should or shouldn't be happening right now. And to move into it with an open mind, allowing not just the positive thoughts, feelings, and emotions, but maybe some negative ones as well. It's all a balance, the yin, the yang. So when the mind starts to chatter, imagine that visual of wiping or washing away, like waves washing away the beach smooth. Wipe it clean, refocus back inward on your breath or on those noises around you, focusing. And this trains your brain to stay still and not chatter at you all day. So if you find your brain starting to wander after 10 seconds, you're not the only one. Refocus with compassion.
if it's wandered back from the rabbit hole of that monkey chatter brain. Refocus back inward on your breath, on your body, and hold that attention there. Slowly starting to find slight movement in your fingers and your toes, and like you're moving through honey. And gently roll yourself onto your side, whichever side feels good for you. With your knees up, take 2 cleansing breaths in fetal position, holding on to this moment, this beauty that you've created within yourself, practicing and moving so that it serves you. And as you start to ascend, pushing your way up with your hands, ragdolling, letting your head hang all the way up into your tall seat. See if you can keep your eyes closed and that gaze focus inward. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. The light in me honors and bows to the light in you. Namaste.